Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Chimera Elite, and today we're taking a look yet again at the Vetruvian. I have a little deck there by the name of Nox. I've been messing around with a few other decks, getting a feel for them. The Magmar deck is named Frontline for a reason. They have some of the best general buffing spells in the game, as far as I know anyway. So I've kind of been messing around with them, but this is Nox versus Vetruvian versus kind of the undead necromancer faction, and it's interesting because Fozzy, and he's also in silver. I actually finally got to rank 20, which is silver. But his faction focuses on, which is interesting, many one-cost minions and Deathwatch. Now, Deathwatch, every time something dies, the ability is activated. Generally, at least an early on card, there's a card that has Deathwatch and it gains +1/+1, which is very powerful. Not only against, just in general with Fozzy's faction, because there's so many small little 1/1s that she can summon, but there's also just against Vetruvian, because I can summon so many little 2/2s, the dervishes, which that's the word I'm looking for, which that card I just summoned does. That's what it does. That's not really that difficult, but it's a very interesting deck, because if he can get his ball rolling, that's a very strong early game card that slowly, not even slowly, rapidly grows to something that I can't deal with without throwing massive amounts of resources. Now, my opener, this is an interesting deck, and we're still relatively early on in terms of who I'm facing, and I feel like the amount of cards that they have. Because one specific thing about Fozzy's character is that he's not the usual, the base hero for that faction. Now, pardon me, I'm still not 100% knowledgeable on the name of the faction, so I'm just gonna call it Fozzy's faction for now. And hers focuses on a specific interesting thing. It deals 1 damage, and if the creature dies, I believe it's this turn, the same turn that got dealt damage, a special tile is placed down. Now, the problem is, throughout this entire game, I didn't see anything in his deck to make use of those special tiles. I don't remember the name of them just yet, but at some point he starts dropping them down. Now, that's one thing I've noticed, just in early decks anyway. You need cards. And not necessarily, high-end cards, the crazy ones, the really epic. I'm just talking about faction cards. You need the cards that benefit your specific faction and what your specific character can do, because that's just how it works. My faction, the Vetruvian at least, at this point, I'm not having too many issues because it's a relatively simple mechanic, and it's not crazy deep at this point. It's mainly about a specific type of unit. Now, I don't have that many of that specific type, but this early on, I've gotten lucky, and I've drawn a lot of the cards that summon that type, which is it's not Vesper, the dervishes. Those 2/3s down there, those are dervishes. They're a different type than you're used to seeing, but base, they're 2/2. And now this is where the Fozzy's faction comes in again. That's the card I was specifically talking about. You get that, I believe, at base, or at least at a very low level in his faction. It has Deathwatch, it gains +1/+1, aka deal with it as quickly as humanly possible, because it can become a massive problem. You can see in 1 turn it's already a 4/4. That's a problem for me. That, while not necessarily able to kill every single one of my units, it is capable of wounding them and needs resources. I also think a specific thing with Fozzie's faction just focuses on death a lot in general. And again, if you're using the other hero, it would be better. Honestly, if he was going with Death Watch with the other hero, it would be better because there are more things that, there are just more things that can die. But at the same time, he wouldn't have been able to pull off that specific combo of Plink for 1 damage. Plink is just, temporary. Single target direct damage that just, it's a small Plink of damage on that one card, killing it, and essentially wiping out 2 of my cards and immediately dealing with, or rather buffing that Death Watch card. Now here, one of the craziest things about the Vetruvian is that at 5/6 actually doesn't, he didn't cost me any mana, at least at this turn. I spent that mana earlier, and it's a continuously returning investment from those cards as long as they stay up, and as long as I keep the fight in the middle, near the middle of the board. I'm trying not to re-up on the mistake that I made last time, which was I put those same cards in off to the side where I thought they'd be safe, but I also forgot that in a way they have a sphere of influence, or a square of influence in this case, because when you summon a creature, a dervish, which is their their special ability, the dervishes can only move so far. They have rush, but they also disappear at the end of the game, meaning that you have to get them in an advantageous position where it's kind of defensively postured. The way I have it is that he can't really move around up top. He can, but it would take him quite a few more turns than otherwise. And my general is he's decently protected. What he just did there, you saw it. The repulsor beast, I believe it's called, just tossed my dancing swords off into a corner and pretty much took it out of combat for about 2 turns. What's going on here? Again, continuing on the returned investment. I'm just constantly summoning dervishes that are a constant problem. Now here, right there, I could have actually I could have played that better. I could have played that way better, in that I could have moved that first dervish forward 1, hit the weird dog dragon thing, and at the same time I could have I could have moved the other dervish up 1 more square and been able to kill it that turn. But instead I pretty much wasted it. You make mistakes, you make misplays, you learn from them. That's also another reason why I'm doing these videos, just for personal benefit, because it's good to go back and look at your old defeats or wins and see what you could have done better. And again, continuing on that investment, getting rid of that Displacer Beast. Or Repulsor Beast. Close enough. A Displacer Beast is a completely different thing from D&D. But, yeah. Again, Dancing Sword finally somewhat back in the fray, taking out one of the the Wraithlings. And at this point, I'm constantly applying pressure with large creatures that he can't necessarily deal with. I'm blocking off any means of pushing up around those units. They're 0/6s. They don't hurt, but they take a while to take down. And that's investment that he could be using elsewhere. He already used his biggest removal on the 7-cost 10/10 earlier, which it was a good choice on his part, but he also didn't have his options were limited. Let's put it that way. And again, he's summoning Wraithlings. Again, also, I'm gonna keep saying this. A lot of decks at this point in the game, or at this point of at this level, I feel, aren't exactly fully optimized. Like, they're not uh, they're not, what's the word? They're not living up to their full potential in their card value. He does have a very nice card there. It gives his general Death Watch and gives her a very substantial amount of health. Sorry, not health, but bonus attack. If something dies, she gains power, and a lot of it. Now, in another game, it might have been useful if I had ranged minions to plink her down and essentially just destroy her artifact. But I don't really have that option, so I'm just going to continually slap her in the face and get her down low to where either she has to play defensively or where she has to just simply concede the game. She's slowly being pushed into a corner, and I'm constantly, one way or another, pushing up. As you can see, the entire right side of the board is mine. She can't summon anything unless she has airdrop, and really, again, her options are rapidly shrinking to nothing. She has a 10-10 staring her in the face. She has the means to kill it, and in a second you'll see how. But generally, it's not looking very good for her. Again, the 0/6, the monuments that summon dervishes are constant pains because she can't get rid of them because she has other things to worry about, mainly the 10-10 and the 8-4, or rather the 8-8. That's an issue. Those are the tiles I was talking about. Maybe she has a specific card that makes use of them, but I have not seen those in play really. I think there are cards that deal damage. They're relatively cheap also, but they deal damage based on the amount of, those special tiles that you have. But I haven't really seen them in competitive play, not yet anyway. And she breaks out a lot of damage, but in the end she doesn't really have much of a choice. And she kills the 10-10, but as a result she also gets dropped down to 2-1. She's now 1 health and back at base damage, which neither of that really matters. Here I'm just switching out and replacing things, looking for the right card. I get the perfect card. It's flying, it's a 5-4. Even if she did have some way to gain back health, I can deal 6 damage. And here you see us kind of saying, yeah, okay, you caught me. This is her last turn if she doesn't have something to either kill the 5-4, and even then, I don't believe his faction has any way to gain health again. And as you can see, I have a pyromancer just waiting there. I can just summon him in front of the dervish spawner, and that will just spit out the 2 points of damage that it has and kill it. Now here, this is actually a creature I've never seen before. Interesting, futile, and I'm interested in the future seeing what I think they're. Now I'm remembering, it's like the Abyssal's faction, but I'm really interested in seeing what they can do in the future. And I do have a deck ready to go, and I'll probably do a video on that either later tonight or in the near future. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.